one of the first things she had said to me was, I'm glad you did because I was not going to reach out to you for at least another year or two.
Microphone check. Does my mic sound nice? Yes, it does. Welcome to this week's episode of It's About Damn Time. We focus on the real journey to being 1% better every damn day. Welcome to this week's episode of It's About Damn Time. I am Jared Dam, back in the building once again. And if you're new here, I got you. See, It's About Damn Time, the podcast about self-discovery. It's my self-journey. I'm on a road to building a better me, and hopefully through conversations and revelations, you too can build a better you, because we're in this, together. That's right. Now, it's about damn time that we talk about something that affects us a lot, but we probably don't talk about it as much as we should, and that's friendship breakups. Now, it's no secret that it's very painful. It's hard to get through. You're left with trying to figure out what to do next with your life, because it might be somebody that you spend a significant amount of time with. Now, I've had my share, but this is a topic that's way too big for me to handle by myself. So I enlisted the very best tag team partner I could find, who also inspired this episode on TikTok. Now, I have been practicing your name for like 3 days and everything. And so I'm about to hit it, but as soon as the camera came on, I started getting nervous right here in my chest. So I'm just full. I'm just letting you know. Okay, so I'm here with award-winning creative and producer Efa Akateka.
Yeah, you did great. You did great. I won't make you do it with the phlegm and everything in there.
Please don't. Well, it's probably gonna be natural phlegm anyway. I tell people all the time, it's not that your name is hard. It's that I'm from Louisiana. I talk really fast and I stumble over my words. So just random words like energy, I might stumble over. So it's a me thing. Definitely a me thing. Anyway, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I have my weekend just getting started, so I'm excited, and I've had a busy week, so I cannot wait to have some time to relax and just enjoy myself.
Yeah. As we're recording, it's the holiday weekend, so I'm glad that you are, in that position to relax and everything. So hard working. So I'm a fan. So I was very excited to have this opportunity to talk to you, and kind of like we talked about before, in the intro, when you made that TikTok talking about your best friend, a recent best friend breakup, it hit me like, oh yeah, I gotta talk about this. So I guess the first question I kind of want to ask you to kind of get the conversation started is, how are you doing right now? Because it's pretty still new, and that was a friend that you had for quite some time, correct?
Yes, this was literally like my sister. Like, our families know each other. I was in her wedding. We are that close. We grew up living a couple houses away from each other. So this is a person I was really, really close with for pretty much all of my life. So a good 30 plus years. And this breakup kind of happened a couple of months ago because I just sort of, we were having a discussion about a reality show of all things in one of our group chats. I know. In one of our group chats with a mutual friend. And then she just kind of very suddenly started saying things that were like kind of attacking me. And I was really confused. It felt like it came out of left field. And I think that for some reason, whatever was going on in my life in that week, I just kind of was looking at this and I was trying to de-escalate it. I was trying to talk to her on the side about it. This is not the first time. I mean, you probably know, if you have a friend for long enough, there's going to be extended periods of time where you just don't talk to each other because you've pissed each other off. So this is not like the first fight we've ever had, but it just kind of clicked for me that like the last time we had a fight like this, I had to be the one to kind of like be the one to apologize, be the one to kind of humble myself and come to her and do all of the things to bring back the friendship. And I just kind of saw this and I said to myself, if we're going to have another fight, is she going to try and reach out to me? Right? Like, if we don't talk to each other for 6 months, a year, whatever, would she reach back out to me? Or did I just repair a friendship, a year or two ago, just for her to do all the same things again? And it kind of just made me realize, you know what, like I have a lot of people in my life who love me and who support me and who don't kind of make me feel uneasy about when the friendship will go sour very suddenly. So I just kind of decided I don't want to do that. And it was
Yeah.
one of those weird freeing moments that I think comes with like age, of you realizing like actually I don't have to put myself in this position anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was one of those things where like in the movies it would be like a montage of all these moments in my life with her, where I'm like, actually this is not the first time we've had this kind of thing come up, and this is always how she is. And so I do not wish her ill or anything like that. I feel like most of the people who I've ever had a kind of like friend breakup or just drifted away from, I don't wish them ill. But in my where I am right now in my life, I was like, I really, really just don't have the space for this type of negativity. So
Mm-hmm.
current day, I think I'm doing a lot better. When I posted that TikTok, it had been a month already, and I was like,
Yeah.
dang, I think I'm just now realizing that I was sad. I was really, really sad about realizing that I walked away from my person. Um, but yeah, it's been a couple of months now, and I think I'm doing better. Definitely just like uh trying not to think about it as much, but
Yeah.
it does feel, I'm starting to feel a little bit lighter. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that. I've had I've had a, I guess, kind of like along the same lines as you, the on again, off again friend breakup. It's like, oh, it's about that time. So it's here we here we go again. And right now, I think I'm in the middle of it. So I'm on week
I'm
one.
sorry. Oh, I'm
No,
sorry.
it's cool. It's cool. Like it's I guess it's kind of faded the way we scheduled this to talk about this like way before, and now it's kind of happened now. But I think, but you know what? It's something. It's kind of something what you said, where you feel like it's going to happen. You kind of on pins and needles. Like, okay, when is this going? When the ball going to drop? Because this is usually the mo for this. And I think you get to a point where kind of like what you say is like, do we want to keep continuing to do the cycle? Do I want to keep being that person that's like being the bigger person? Like my mom used to always tell me to be the bigger person, like all the time. And and you know what? I'm 46 now. I'm tired of being the bigger person. Like I'm tired. I'm tired, and
Yeah.
it's usually me like, oh, okay, well, I'll wait here, or I'll reach out, or I'll wait to. It's usually they'll wait till after a few months when stuff calms down or life gets crazy for them, and they're like, I just need like a lighthouse in this storm that I'm going through right now, and I'm just like, okay, what's happening, what's going on, and I immediately pour in because I'm a glutton for punishment, but I immediately pour in, and and all of a sudden I guess maybe some time passes by, you go back into like that groove that you were in before, and all of a sudden you're right back into it, and you're like, should I let my guard down? Maybe this time it'll be different. And
Yeah. And isn't that so? That's the uncomfortable part. I think that was the part that hit me like, do I have another one of those in me to where I have
yeah,
to rebuild trust with this person?
yeah,
And why do I have to keep rebuilding trust with this person every couple of years if I'm going to call them, somebody that I consider a best friend? And
right,
it was just that kind of, people compare these a lot to relationship breakups and talk about how it's, for me personally, a lot harder to lose a friend than
hmm,
it is a romantic partner. And I think that in my head I was kind of thinking about it like, if this was like a relationship, if I had been with this person for 10 years or something, and these were the kind of problems that we were having, where we would get into these big fights and it would always be about the same things over and over again, um, would I want to continue that relationship? And the answer is no. I would not want to sign up for that. It would not be something worth fighting for at that point for me, considering the kind of stuff that we tend to argue about. And the way, also, I think that that also matters, the way that your friends argue with you. Because, like you were saying, if that person just was reaching back out to you whenever they needed something, and when they finally were like, hey, now I need your emotional support, even though I haven't talked to you for 6 months, it's like, you know, does that person
Yeah.
really value you? So I think that was a big part of it too. Just thinking about like how much do I feel like I have grown and changed as a person versus how they have grown and changed as a person? Because when we argue, does it feel like it can be constructive? Does it feel like we actually are getting past things? Last time we resolved this, and here it is again. So yeah, I think that that was a big thing for me. Just kind of thinking about if this was a different situation, how would I treat it? And that kind of helped me to look at it with a new lens.
That's interesting because I was going to actually ask you about that because you said that in your TikTok about how it feels harder than a romantic breakup, and I totally agree with that as well. Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's so much harder?
I think because friends are really like one of those the only people in your life, in my opinion, that you're completely there by choice, right? Your family, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
there's blood there. So whether or not you associate with them, you're always going to be connected. Your coworkers, I mean, I'm here to get paid. I have bills. So I got to be nice to you so they don't fire me.
Right.
And then, so when you look at relationships and friendships, those are people that you're choosing to have in your life. But even in a relationship, I think that there's a little bit more of that partnership aspect. Like if you're trying to build a life together, you trust that person. Maybe I got to know that we could parent together or that we could live together, that we can grow together over time in ways that were really intertwined, similar to family. They become your family if you're with them long enough. But friends are really those only people where it's like every single day that I see you or that I talk to you, I'm choosing to be here. There's no other reason for me to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, I can get to the point of being like your family too, but you don't depend on me for finances. You don't depend on me for intimacy. You don't depend on me for child rearing. So I feel like friendships are genuinely like one of the only places where every single day that person is choosing to have you in their life and they can easily walk away. So when you have that bond actually break up, it feels like, oh, we actually chose to walk away. And, you know, it just that to me, I think is the reason why it hurts a little bit more. Cause yeah, I also haven't had like a 30-year relationship yet. So we'll see. Maybe someday I'll be like, this was really hard to walk away from. But but yeah, it's just like, that this person has been in my life since I was conscious. So it took a lot to walk away from that versus somebody that I met a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I guess you're right because look, I've been married before, and yeah, the separation and divorce was difficult, but a friendship, a friendship is that is a lot because you're right. It's like that montage that you have in your head. I've had friendship breakups that I think about the montage more with the friendship than I did their relationship in the marriage, which is weird because
Mm,
we started out as friends anyway. That's a
yeah.
whole new episode. That's a whole new episode. But but yeah, I think it's for me. It's like you said, you're choosing to be there, and for me, I've always devoted that much extra time and energy into my friends because you know, my family. You're right, it's blood, but we might not even have the same interests. I've drifted
Hmm.
away from some cousins because you know I think differently. I don't want to be stuck doing the same things that they've been doing in Louisiana for like the last 20, 30 years. I don't want
Hmm.
to do that. So my friends, you're getting, you know, you're getting the very ends of Jared, like the ins and outs of me. You're getting what I think about stuff, what I feel about stuff, like the deep dark secrets, the stuff that I'm secretly dealing with that because I'm prideful, I ain't sharing with everybody else, but I'm gonna give you the sneak preview and let you know about it so you can be woo 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 about it as well.
Hmm.
And so when I'm communicating to you, especially when I'm going through something currently, and because you can't see past yourself, and you go like, "Oh well, that's messed up, man." Whew, I am so tired, man. I am like just so. I'm just like, oh, okay, okay. All right, well, we'll just move on to you. Yes, that's perfectly fine. And I'm one of those. I choose my battles. Yeah, I really do. I like. Could I have gone out there and been like, oh, for real? So it ain't time to support Jared right now. Like I'm like
Mm-hmm.
because I speak in the third person like all the time. It ain't time to support Jared right now. But no, I just kind of made a mental note, just kind of kept it pushing, and I think that's what kind of what you're talking about is the maturity of like looking at the situation overall and reflecting on it, being like, do I really have another run at this? Do I really have enough energy to do this one more time? Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's just interesting. How is is it just maturity and just growing up and just dealing with it? How do you get to a point where you really want to start breaking the cycle where you're looking at things from that standpoint and being like, no, is it some reflection that you're doing on your part or exercise, or is it just like are you just tired?
Honestly, I think maturity is a great word to frame this whole situation because I think for me personally it was therapy a couple of years ago. I got into therapy actually after my last relationship ended, and I was working through all that relationship stuff, and in doing so, funny enough, around the same time I had some other friendships kind of end that were not as long term as this one, but they were people that I was pretty close with, and especially because they were, I now live in California, and there were people that I had out here. And it started to make me feel like, I don't have my partner no more. I don't have some of these friends anymore. Like, it was pandemic. I was just like, dang, am I about to be all alone and have to start from scratch again? So I was in therapy and I was talking to her about a lot of these different things. And as we were going through the relationship breakup stuff, she was like, also, I need you to acknowledge that you are hurting about some of those friendship losses. And with at least one of those people, like, therapy helped me to realize, oh, I need to go talk to that person again. And thankfully, we've reconnected and I have that friendship back. But that helped me to realize that, like, the way I was dealing with relationships was all connected in different ways, and that I had to sort of mature a little bit in terms of how I view relationships and what spaces in my life those people fulfill. And she really helped me with kind of developing this framework of, like, there's close friends, like your besties, like you said, the ones who know all those intimate, deep, dark secrets that you don't want other people to know about, the ones who know the embarrassing moments in your life. Um, there's those close friends. And then you can still have, like, acquaintances, people that you're social with, you're cordial with, maybe they're social media friends, maybe they're people that, you just see every once in a while when you want to go out and have a party or something like that. But they don't have to be your best friends. You don't have to treat everybody with the same level of emotional depth. And that is okay to still cherish those relationships and not have them be, the best friends of your life. And
Mm-hmm.
then, so I think in working through that in therapy, it started to help me kind of think about, okay, then what do I also require from people in terms of, not like, it's not just about how I view them, but how they view me and how do they use me. And so that, I think, is something that I came into this fight with my friend thinking about, like, oh, I have matured more. And here is what the people who I now consider my close friends, here are the things that I require from them. And here are the things that I give to them. I feel like I'm giving these things to you. I don't feel like you are giving me the things that I now feel like I require in a friendship. And I have been vocal about that for a while now. And I feel like we keep on ending up back in this place where I am not getting what I require. And so it was me recognizing that I had matured to a certain place that I don't think she had matured to. And
Mm-hmm.
so we were just not really aligned anymore in the same way that we were years ago. So
Yeah,
that's what did it for me.
yeah. No, I, the fact that therapy helped with that, and I love that you brought that up because one one I got to get back into therapy, but two, I I I'm always encouraging people around me about the power of therapy, and I get it. It's scary. You're talking to some stranger. You don't really know if they. You already may have trust issues because you got a friend that goes up and down and leaves for 6 months to a year and then comes
Yeah.
back. So you already got trust issues anyway. Now I got to talk to this person, and I don't know what they're gonna tell me, but to have that perspective, to have that the time where you can actually reflect and figure things out. Because for me, I feel like I've always felt like it's been like a cyclical thing as far as my relationships, whether they're friendships or romantic or even family. Like people will be in my life for a hot minute and then pew, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are like the ones that maybe like I talked about earlier in this
Mm-hmm.
regard with the friendship breakup, but some of them, it's more that what we talked about before, that drift where you just kind of slide in. And I've been okay with the cycle of that when it's not bad. Like, hey, you got some stuff going on, you got some shit going on over there, I got some shit going on over here. Okay, and when we come back together like Voltron, we good. But it's the
Yeah.
ones where it's I'm pouring in and you get tired, but you can't support me. And it's funny to me because when you say now that you bring it up, you start talking about the reality show, argument that started all this. I literally had an argument with somebody over Scandal. Over excuse me, it was over Scandal, but it wasn't even just Scandal. It was we were binge watching the show together. Like I've seen Scandal. I'm doing my part to bring you up to the Scandal level where now
Yeah.
you can sit there and say, oh, this is a good show. Yeah, you're welcome. And so we going through it and you watching it, and then you do your normal fade away where you disappear for a while, and I'm like, okay. And then when you come back, 6-9 months from now, you're like, oh yeah, yeah, Scandal was really good. Wait a minute, you finished it? Like, first of all, you left this. Like we didn't even have like a real argument. You just disappeared for whatever reason, and then when you come back, you don't tell me that you finished the stuff that I introduced you to. She didn't get it. She did not get why I was so high. Like I went around talking to different people. Like I was having quizzes. Do you see where I'm coming from? Absolutely, because the shows are sacred. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to laugh at you about the reality show thing because look, I had a battle for Scandal.
But I will say the funny thing about it is the last time that we had a fight where we didn't talk for like a year, it was the same reality show. And my friends who are in our best friend group were like, y'all gotta stop watching that show. Why are you fighting about it so much? but it's funny because like I said, that was the last fight that we had, and then this was the fight that we had, and it just brought up the memories of that last fight, and I was like, yeah, that one seemed equally out of nowhere. And I feel like maybe something about the way that we both view these things is just like probably both of us projecting a little bit of like, this is my worldview and this is your worldview.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was just like, it would be these little things. And also, I don't know if you felt this way from, just your personal life experiences. Cause you said something about you have maybe cousins who you've drifted away from. They're still doing a lot of the same things and you didn't want to be like that anymore. And
Right.
I feel like that has been happening to me more and more the more I try to like get out of my comfort zone and try different things in my life. And it's like, sometimes I will feel like, well, given my lived experiences, here's how I see the world now. And here are some things
Mm-hmm.
I might have believed when we first met and when we first bonded that I don't believe in anymore. Or there are some things that maybe now I feel like I generally think that that's just a mentality I don't want to have or something that I don't believe in or whatever.
Right.
And so it's really interesting to have those moments where you're thinking like, oh, this person that I used to feel like we were so in sync, we had so much in common, we thought the same way, we did the same things, I'm starting to now change. And so I'm falling out of alignment with them. And, like I said, it's crazy to think that a TV show could be the reason why that happens, but it's like, with Scandal, it's like, well, I thought you would be the type of person who checks in on me and says, oh my God, can you believe Jake just did this? Can you believe, Fitz just did that? And no, okay, so maybe we're two different people when we're watching a show.
Right.
So it's those little things, they add up. And that's what I'm talking about with that montage that goes through your head when you're deciding what to do. It's just like, let me start making a list and see what the sort of like pros and cons of continuing this friendship are. And that sounds really harsh, but it's funny how some of these simple things in your life can actually show you a lot about the way that you view something and the way that somebody else in your life views something. And then you kind of just have to make a decision from there of like, am I still comfortable with this, or is it something worth addressing, or is it just something worth moving on from entirely?
No, you're absolutely right, and yeah, it's those little things play. I think a lot of people probably would even just notice those things. Like, oh, you don't look like that. Well, I like that, and then keep it pushing. Me, my mind's always going like, wait a minute, this is a bigger issue right here. Hold on. Let's talk about this. Oh, Jared, why the fuck we gotta talk about it? No. Let's talk about it and because it is a bigger issue. If you look at so going back to my family, there are people that I have family that married somebody that's literally living on the same street that their mama was living on, and their mama is living on the same street that their grandma was living on. You know what I mean? And it's like, so you going to the same places, you doing the same things. You're you're not growing mentally. You're not stretching your intellectual and emotional muscles, so to speak. You just
Mhm.
the same doing the same stuff. So when I hear different things on how because the world is so crazy now. The world is different. But if I hear you saying some wild stuff, I gotta check you on it, or I gotta at least
Mhm.
my eyebrow gotta be raised. So the other day I had a friend that was like, what did she say? It was wild. Oh, it was so wild. She said, she said, why are all the black men on TV gay? I'm sorry, what? Like, wait, hold on. wait, wait,
What
wait.
shows is she watching?
I was just I just stopped. I was like, question mark? 'Cause I don't want to touch this. I don't know what's going on. I'm just so confused. And she was talking about some commercials. I guess, I don't know, maybe some of these commercials that had a lawyer reading all the stuff about anal leakage and everything else if you take the pills or whatever. I guess maybe she looked at those commercials
Okay.
and they were just like, they were like, and I'm like, and I get it, I guess, because so with commercials like that, maybe you got to throw in, you want to try to hit all the you know the the
The high
groups
risk
in one time. Yeah.
demographics.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So maybe you get a black gay male, so you can sit there and be like, all right, that's three groups right there. I got them, or something like that. But I was like, I don't I hadn't noticed that. But in my mind, it's also like, but why is that a bad thing, right? What's crazy about that? Like, I
Uh
don't
huh.
understand. Yeah, so now I'm thinking about what's your agenda? What are you thinking? How is our friendship going to progress? Because are you completely homophobic? I'm not
Hmm.
homophobic, so like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think about all those little small things. I'm like,
Yeah.
do I need to fall back from talking to you? So,
Yeah. No, that's so real. To be honest, that has happened quite a lot. In particular, I would say more with my family than anything,
hmm
because
hmm
my family's African. A lot of them are like grew up in Kenya and then moved here. And then also a lot of them are really Christian too, just because that happens a
hmm
lot in African countries. The colonizers got us good. And
right.
so there's a lot of family members who might just have ideas that they don't ever think to challenge. And then I'll be around them and they'll say something. And like at this point, I just have a reputation. I am the one who will say it, like at the Christmas dinner or whatever. So it's always a thing of like, hey, just so you know, this person's going to be here. Please don't argue with them about their thoughts on this. Like, again, like my mom will genuinely, prep me if I'm going to come home and visit and be like, please don't bring this up. Please don't argue with this person about that, because they're not going to change. They're going to say the same thing. Like, she's had to mediate for me before because she knows that I'm passionate about certain things like that. Like, if you're saying things that are homophobic, I'm going to just be like, all right, why do you feel that way? And let's talk
Yeah.
about it. And so it's like I am that person in my regular life too. Funny enough, I was gonna do a TikTok about this. I might still do it. But on New Year's, I was at a party with some friends, and there was another queer woman there who was defending Chris Brown and P. Diddy and all of these things. And I was just like, that's a big line for me. I'm not trying to start a big fight or anything like that, but like she just kept wanting to play Chris Brown songs for some reason. I think we were all a little tipsy at this point. So decisions were being made, but she just kept wanting to play Chris Brown. And I was like, please, I just would rather not hear him. Like, if it accidentally comes up in a playlist, fine. but I don't want to like intentionally sit here and like play 5 of his songs and watch his music videos and stuff like that. So like it was interesting to me to like even have that discussion, and I'm like, you're a mutual friend of our friend here, and my other friend is like, I don't really care, like this is the kind of stuff that I enjoy. This is music that I enjoy. I don't really care that much about like what he does outside of his music. And for me, I'm like, well, that is something that I put a little mental note in my head when I talk to friends of like, who are the kind of people that you support, or the kind of people who you know, let things slide with. Because at the end of the day, I do think that that also speaks to your, you know, personal life. And then, you know, what would you do if you found out something was happening to me in a relationship? Would you defend me? Would you defend him? You know, and just generally speaking, what kind of people are you comfortable associating with? And would that put me in harm's way if I'm hanging out with you? So I feel like I definitely think about those kind of things. Like, when has my mentality grown and shifted in ways that my friends haven't? And therefore, you know, I always kind of say like, you get to have a couple of problematic faves and we can still be friends. But after a certain point, I'm just like, man,
Yeah.
it's a lot of takes here that I disagree with. And I don't know what we still have in common at this point. If you feel okay with all of these things, you know, you want to support Trump and say free Diddy and do all these things. I'm like, it gets to a point where what are we talking about anymore in our hangouts at brunch? So
No, that's real. But I think you're right. I think you just gotta make a list, because again, you can't go off about everybody who doesn't have that same take as you. But it's like you said, it adds up. So you wait a minute. This is like the 7th one I've clocked in the last 3 months. Like, yo, like this might be your problem. And
for real.
yeah, I catch that a lot. It's like I said with my family, we African Americans live in the Bible Belt, so a lot of stuff that I I don't sit there and have a problem with. It's like, whoa, they you're right. They didn't challenge it. They never challenged it because you couldn't challenge it growing up. But now you can. Like I literally had conversation with my daughter who she challenged about, you know, religion and everything and everything, instead of me sitting there saying, oh no girl, you, because my mama and my grandma said it, so that's what you got to do. I'm like, well baby, you gotta find your own path. So
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah, I'm the king of making a mental note, and it seems like you the queen out west with making the mental
Yes.
notes too. So I like that. I like that.
Royalty here.
What about the people that have this narrative about them always being good? So like, for example, it's never their fault. And it's always when they get into it with somebody, whether it's a friendship breakup, whether it's a relationship breakup, it's always somebody else's fault. Well, if they had did this, or if you had, oh, this is the one I hate the most. Well, if you just listen to me and follow what and listen to what I tell you, then we wouldn't have any issues. Oh, okay. I didn't realize that I was a soldier in your army. You know, so that for me, I am the king of like reflection, and even on situations where I don't feel like I'm totally at fault for this, or I'm like, well, you clearly did this. I will still go back in that morning of that friendship and look like, what could I did? What could I've done better? Because even with this friend that I'm currently on the outs with, the first thing I'm thinking of is like, okay, maybe they were upset with me because like I'm going through a lot of shit right now. I'm holding on to it silently, but I'll say some things here and there. So I said it out loud, and I guess in her mind, she's like, well, if you just do this, this, and this, you wouldn't be in this position. Cool and probably fair, but can you not internally just think that and then just cut me off? Can you just let me stew in it for a little while and we come back to it? Because I have to do that with you. So it's that old people that are always feeling like nothing is wrong on their end. Tell me about that, because you were not in your head when I mentioned it. So I know you got some experiences with it.
No, I was like, dang, did you see the text messages? What are you, I feel like you're in my brain right now. Because, okay, so first things first, I will say that this goes back to what I learned to do in therapy. That idea of like, what am I willing to give to this friendship, and what am I asking this person to give me in return? And so I'm looking at those requirements when I think about this sort of scenario. And for me, the requirement is that we are both doing an equal amount of assessment. We are both willing to admit where we're wrong. We are both willing to say, I'm sorry, like, or obviously if one person is clearly in the wrong, like if I punch you in the face, you don't have to say I'm sorry to me. I have to be the one to say I'm sorry. But if we are just having a difference of opinion and we are, needing to squash it, we both need to be able to come and say, like, I agree to disagree, but I still love you. Or, I was a little out of pocket. I got heated. I said some things I didn't mean, or that were hurtful. I'm sorry for that. But, I do still firmly believe this. Like, we both have to be able to have an adult conversation, admit our wrongs, and try to see, the other person's perspective. I don't need you to agree with me every single time, but I do need you to understand where I'm coming from. And I especially need to not always feel like I'm the one trying to be humble. And so, like I said, with this friend, the last time that we fought, when I came back around and said, like, I miss you, I miss talking to you, I want to be your friend again, how can we like squash this beef? One of the first things she had said to me was, I'm glad you did, because I was not going to reach out to you for at least another year or two. And I was like, okay, bet. Bet.
Oh,
I'm still
shit.
willing to work. Yeah, I'm still willing to work through this because I still value you as a friend. That should have been the red flag back then, but I didn't listen to myself, because we talked things through, and I thought we came to a certain agreement. And basically what I realized in having this newer fight is that ever since we made our repairs back then, I was being truthful and honest in everything that I had said I would pledge to do and what I would try to do. And I was realizing that, oh, this person has not been honest with me. They actually have been going back on some of the stuff that I thought we were agreeing to in terms of how we were going to move forward with our friendship. And that dishonesty really kind of like hit me in that moment of having that fight. And in like I was like, I'm just gonna take like a week or two out of the group chat, like I'll be back, guys. And one of my friends reached out to me on the side and was like, hey, I talked to her and she said, like, if you're willing to like meet halfway, we can do da 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 da. And I was just like, this is my like last stand. I'm not meeting her halfway, because she absolutely came for me. You were there, you saw everything. It came out of fucking nowhere. See, the curses are slipping out. It came out of nowhere, and everything I tried to do was de-escalating the situation, and she just kept making it worse. And even when I reached out on the side, she was reluctant to own up to her participation in there being a fight. So I was just like, nothing about this is a brick wall. You are not even going to try an attempt to make up to me unless I humble myself and say, I was so wrong. I'm so sorry. I did this and I did that. And I just didn't want to do it. I was like, I actually don't have to. I actually don't have to, be in a submissive relationship with somebody that I call a friend. And
Right.
so you asked exactly the right question on that one, because I was just like, I need both of us to be able to have accountability for ourselves, and I am always willing to admit my faults, because I'm a flawed person, and a lot of my friends will tell you some of the stuff that I have done in the past and had to apologize for. Usually not on purpose, but if it's like a girls trip and we've had too many margaritas, there's a bad side of me that might come out. So it's like, I think that with my closest friends, like I said, I've had friendships before that I thought ended, and then we kind of eventually drifted back towards each other. And generally speaking, it was because we were both willing to say, like, I fucked up. I didn't think about you. I didn't consider you. I didn't do what I was supposed to do as a friend. Like, and I was in the wrong for that. And I when I think about the fact that those friends were able to do it, I'm like, hey, I'm leaving that door where if this girl ever decides that she wants to reach that level of maturity, we can talk it out. But as of right now, she's not there. And I don't know how she would get there. And after talking to mutual friends, they kind of agree. They're like, yeah, even when I have a fight with her, it's the same thing. So I'm just kind of like, I feel confident that it was not only me in this situation. And I feel like, I'm sorry, I had to protect myself and my mental health, because why would I stay in a friendship that is not serving me? So
For
that
real.
was oof, that hit, because I was like, this question is exactly what was my last straw.
Yo, but that's real, because and you know what? Not only do I need you to reflect, I need you to self-reflect. And I want to be clear about that, because if I gotta coach you on the reflection, that's more energy. That's more energy that I gotta do. Like now, granted, like you said, we're all flawed individuals. I might say some shit. You be like, Jared, now come on now, and I was like, I ain't thinking about it. But all the time, every time. Every time we have an issue, I gotta be like, well, did you look at it from this perspective? Well, no, because and it's fire. It's like I'm doing this, and then I'm slowly like a piece of wood and a knife, just whittling it down. Like, okay, but did you think about this? Did you think about this? And now I've created this nice little bird out of this wood to hand you. Like, oh, I didn't see that. I can't do this every time we have a disagreement. I can't do this every time we have an argument. I can't do this every time you leave this. And granted, I want to be clear here, because some of my friends listen to this podcast, so I want to be clear here and say I am really shitty with callbacks and text messages, and we'll be in the middle of a conversation, and I will disappear, and I'm currently binge watching Agents of Shield back, because why not, so maybe that's what I'm doing at the time, because when I get stressed, I go to the show that I like. So maybe that's what I'm doing right now. I don't be clear about that. You don't need to tell me that. I know it's a flaw for me. You know what I mean? I admit that, but I'm more so of like, when you vanish and I gotta give you and educate you on it. It's like, I think that what bothers me the most is the fact that it's not only is it that you're not being reflective of yourself and everything, but it's like you're not even putting the effort in to try. And for me, effort goes a long way. Effort is big. And listening to your example, where it's like, well, I'm glad you reached out, because I was gonna wait for another 1 or 2 years, or well, we can meet halfway, I guess. Let me just sit there and throw you.
Yeah.
And granted, I'm a Taurus, so maybe I'm a little stubborn. I can admit that, but
I'm an Aries. We're not known to be, the most malleable people. So
right. So it's there. We get it. We understand, but we understand that about ourselves, and we're still willing to try. All we asking for is E for effort. That's all.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think it's when you stack up those little notes in your mind and you start to be like, okay, well, 1 time is fine, 2 times is fine, 3 times is fine. After a certain point, you start to be like, I'm just tired of having to do this. And I try to also I think maybe we overthink a lot. Maybe we're just very empathetic people. And sometimes that can just come from like what you've been through in life and what you've had to own up to in yourself. But I think that there's a certain point where it is, basically what you were saying is like, I need you to be willing to have these thoughts without me having to provoke you to say like, because in this conversation, I was even saying things like, hey, what you said was hurtful to me. It made me feel like this. It made me feel like that. And, she would kind of just redirect it to more attacks. And I would say, can we address how those words are making me feel? Because I think that I would like my friend to be conscious of how their words are hurting me. And when she was unable to meet me there, I think that hurt more, because it was just like, you're not even trying to salvage my feelings, and you're not even trying to see where I'm coming from in all of this and what is bothering me. Because I don't even care anymore about, the initial argument. I care about the way that you've now used your words to hurt me. And that to me is not the kind of thing that you do to a friend without also being able to sit back and say, I fucked up. And so I was just like, even after a couple of weeks of me just taking some time for myself, I come back now hoping that you have reflected and you still have not. Like, that hurts. So I just kind of was like, why would I keep hurting myself? It's going to hurt. Once again, I've done hard things before that you need time to get through. whether it's friend breakups, relationship breakups, literal surgery. And I'm like, recovery takes time. So this thing that you're about to do is going to hurt like hell, but you will go through a recovery process. You will be okay eventually. And that will be that. So I kind of just was like, all right, let's rip the Band-Aid off and start this healing process. So that was where it was for me.
So speaking about that, and you're talking about, because recovery is hard, and we talked about how the lack of people reflecting is evident across everywhere, but you do, part of the reason why I wanted to have this conversation with you is because you always do seem like one that reflects in the content that you do, even in this conversation. You talk about things that you do to reflect. What does recovery and reflection look like for you? Like, so when there's breakups, whether it's friendship or relationships, what is the reflection part where you're reflecting about your role in this and how things go? What does that look like, and what does recovery look like to get back to you?
Oh, these are good questions. I think for the reflection part, it definitely starts. Man, I can't even explain to you how often I go back to that framework of like, how close are we? And it sounds horrible when you say it out loud, but when you actually start to implement it in your life, it allows you to have these really great friendships with people with different levels of expectation so that you're not disappointed in them, you know? But I think I start there and I say, how close are we? What do I, expect from this person? And what do I think that they've grown to expect from me? And so I'll start to reflect on my actions. Did I do stuff in this argument that I would be pissed if they did back to me? Did I do anything here where I think that I exacerbated the situation? Because, like I said, I'm an Aries. I will go for a fight if I if I feel like sometimes just because. But I'll be and I'll be like, is there an apology here that needs to be made? Did I do or say something that I don't really believe in and that I am willing to say sorry about in order to regain trust with somebody? Like, that's usually where it starts for me, is like, did I do something here that I actually think is wrong and that I think if somebody did to me, I would have a problem with? And then I kind of go from there in terms of like, all right, here's, my level of I don't know, responsibility in this whole situation. And let me go to that person and see if they think it's accurate. And especially that's that key moment where if they have also been able to reflect, or if they are a person who can be really good at communicating what's going on with them, then they can also be like, well, here's what I feel like I did. But if they also tell me some new stuff there, like, what you didn't know was that you did this, what you didn't know was that you did that, or what you didn't know is that this is actually a sore subject for me and you brought it up, and that's why I was extra offended and went off on you. Like, if they bring something new to my attention in that moment, that I'm like, oh, okay, extra sorry, because I didn't even know that you had some trauma around that, and I hit a nerve. Yes, I was the bitch in this situation. And every once in a while, a person just doesn't want to even explain themselves. Like, I actually had a argument with somebody that I used to be kind of acquainted with over that once, because I was asking questions about something that I didn't know was a sore subject for them, and then they just kind of were like, can you please stop talking about this? I really don't, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Now that I know, I would never do that again. And yeah, so I think that that's where it starts for me in terms of reflection, is just like, how close am I with this person? How much do I want to salvage this relationship? How much can I actively own up to? And then allowing them space to tell me that I did more. And that at that point, you can always negotiate it. You can be like, that's not fair, or you can even tell them things that maybe they didn't know about the situation too. But I think that communication and that negotiation is important, because it tells you, is this person just trying to continue the fight, or are they trying to actively work through it with you? And then on the recovery side of things, for me, it was a lot of television. There were Oreos eaten.
Come on now. Come on, somebody.
My DoorDash account was popping. I didn't feel like cooking. I was just on my couch and I was like, wow, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do laundry. I don't want to like show up for a work meeting. I don't really want to go to the gym. I don't want to do anything. That was when I realized like, oh, this is like, a little depressive
Yeah.
episode. And it was me feeling, I have, friends who are therapists and one of them always says, feel your feelings, and it's just like stuck in my head now every time I am trying to barrel my way through an emotional downhill moment. I just hear her in my head saying feel your feelings, and so I had to do that. I just had to sit with my discomfort and my upsetness. I journal when I'm mad now instead of like getting on stories or something and ranting out into the void. Like, no, I'm gonna journal. I'm gonna be internal with it. I'm going to talk to myself sometimes because sometimes I just
Mm-hmm.
speak out loud on my couch as if somebody's interviewing me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I talk through the things that I am feeling. And then when I was ready, I had to talk to other friends about it because I think that getting those emotions out externally also really helped me to process it through the lens of somebody else saying, like, you know, it's like a third party review. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, here's the situation. I'm trying to tell it as factually as I can. If you want to see screenshots, you can read through and let me know what I did. But, or even just, the friends that were there, like they already saw. So it was me just being like, am I the asshole, basically? And
Yeah.
when I kept on getting reassurance that, like, no, everything that you're saying sounds reasonable, like what you would expect from that person sounds reasonable, and what they seem to have said to you, what they did or whatever, does feel like they should apologize, they should be in the wrong, they should be understanding of how they made you feel. And so it was just kind of that reassurance from other people that I wasn't crazy, I wasn't overreacting, that helped me to get through it and not run and crying back like, please, please, I miss you, you know. um
Take me
and
back.
take me back. Because yeah, like I said, once again, I have one friend in particular who we broke up for like a year, and had just started getting really close to her, and I remember when she came back around, it was one of those instant things where we were just like, I miss you so much, I never should have left you, like I really want to, be with you, be your friend again, can we please talk this through? And the like act of desperation on both of our parts was so lovely, because it was like we both were just in a place where we were like, I miss being able to talk to you about these kind of things, and like so much has happened in my life, and I wanted you there for those moments and you weren't there. And so us both being able to humble ourselves, because we are people with big egos, us both being able to meet each other there, like that is now my new benchmark for, okay,
Mm-hmm.
if you say you're my close friend and you can't, meet me in the same place of us both understanding the level of wrongness, then I'm good on that. And so low key, like in my recovery, that thought helped me. Like this other person who I went through something similar with, they treated it how I would want it to be treated. So I know that it's possible. I know that I'm not crazy. I know that I'm not asking for something that is out, out of left field. And so I think that it's kind of nice when you have that to cling to, and to say like, I am going to stick through, whatever feelings I have now, and wade through to the other side, because I know in my heart of hearts that I've done the right thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
after all the TV and the Oreos, it was going for walks, the little mental health walks that they tell you to do, and going and meeting up with friends again. Like I said, this was around my birthday, so that's when I was posting that video. And so I was kind of like not even wanting to plan anything for my birthday because I just didn't want to be around people. So I
Right.
planned smaller, and I also made time for doing things myself that would just bring me joy. So I did a lot of solo stuff for my birthday this year. Like, and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't that I didn't, want, it wasn't that I couldn't have tried to do something bigger. It was just that I wanted to be around a small amount of people who I knew how they felt about me, I knew how I felt about them. And then for everything else, I was like, it's about my personal joy and trying to find that
Yeah.
spark again. So those solo adventures were really helpful. And I think that helped me to kind of get my joy back.
I love that. Like what I love the most about it is the entire flow and plan of everything. First of all, the TV and the Oreos. I'm 100% on board with that. You know what I mean? But because I think it's that I need that time to just kind of to decompress. Like I need time to like just not be in there, and then I'm my anxiety going up, my blood pressure going up. I'm sitting there thinking about this. So you had the time to decompress. Then you did your own reflection. Doing that before you involved like that, almost like that third party testing, is I think that's the crucial part. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people who want to just feel like they were right in the sense, and they skip that whole fucking self reflection part. They go right to the third party testing part, and so it's become this amen corner, this echo chamber, like, yeah, you see, and then somebody's like, yeah, girl, I'm like, see, I ain't wrong. I know people that used to do that. They would either post or they'll call their friends, and their friends be like, yeah. Now you ain't told them the whole situation. See, if you coming up with here's some screenshots so you can look at it, so you won't think I'm biased. It's somebody like, hey, let me tell you what Jared did to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa. And so now there might be a dozen people that they're like, Jared's on the most wanted list because he's a horrible person.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know what I'm saying? But having that reflection first to look back and
Yes.
then do third party testing, that makes all the difference.
And I will say that reflection period, like I said, sometimes I can be quick to anger if I feel like I was slighted. That has been genuinely a tool I have learned over several years now to calm myself. When I was a child, I got in trouble all the time for just angry outbursts, violent outbursts. I have gotten detention and suspensions before in school because somebody did something and I was just like, I'm gonna throw something across the classroom at you, you know? So that was where I started as a child. And then now as an adult, I have learned get your anger out in, your journal. And that way, when I'm ready to go talk to people about it, I can feel like I know how to now say these things without fully letting my emotions take over. So yeah, I think that that's like a newer I didn't even think about the way that I sort of phased things out, but I think that that's a newer thing that I try to do now when I have something like this happen is like, I need time to sit within myself before I go talk to other people about it. Otherwise, I might sensationalize it. I might be angry about it. I might try to get people on my side as opposed to being able to be like, can you look at this objectively for me and tell me if you're seeing the same thing as I'm seeing? Because, yeah, the journal entries are where the anger lives, and then try to keep it away from everything else.
It's a safe place for them to be. You know what I mean? Where it doesn't cause any more additional damage. So, yeah, I got to start doing journaling. Yeah, because I just internalize, and I'm not posting. I'm not yelling at people, but I just internalize a lot. So I got to get it out somehow. I used to blog, but I felt like that was part of my whole podcast communication empire. So it's more like work to me than actually getting it out. But
I will say, if it helps, I'm not consistent with it. Like when I say I journal, it might be like 6 months between journal entries sometimes. But it's when I feel an overwhelming sense of emotions inside that I need to process. I just go and I start writing. And it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to make sense. I just write the words as they come into my head. And then sometimes I'll go back and look at something like a year later and I'll be like, wow, I was going through it. This is crazy. So yeah.
All right, this has been a great conversation. We're down to the last part of the conversation. I do this thing called "It's About Damn Times." We're hence the name of the podcast. So I'm going to ask you a question, so you can give it to our audience. Efa, what is it about damn time for people to realize about friendship breakups and accountability?
Ooh. It's about damn time for people to realize that friendship breakups take two people. Even if you are the person who feels like you had to walk away, that you were constantly being disrespected, that you were constantly being, annoyed or frustrated in the relationship, it still takes two people. Whether that means that you gave this person room and space for too long to be able to treat you a certain way, whether it means that you enabled their behavior with other folks, which meant that they were now thinking they could treat you similarly. it takes two people. And so I think that I'm not doing that to victim blame anybody who feels like they were the party that was more hurt in a friendship breakup, but it's realizing that you created an environment to be in a friendship with somebody who brought you to the place where you no longer wanted to talk to them. And so that reflective period of saying, what would I do, next time? What do I want my next friendship to look like? And what do I want to learn from this as far as how I should approach my next friendship to make sure I don't end up here again? And, like I said, sometimes you've been friends with somebody for so long that you just forget that you guys have started to drift apart until something big happens. But, I think that these are good learning lessons to just say like, oh, okay, here's where things started to drift and I should have caught it sooner. But I was so, wanting to hold on to that friendship that I stayed in it. So what I am learning from my part of this was just like exactly that, realizing that I need to be better at assessing even my long-term friendships and recognizing whether or not we are still serving the same purpose in each other's lives, and knowing that it's okay if we need to take a step down in terms of how much we interact, in terms of, how we view each other, because I would rather step back a relationship while it's still healthy than have it fully implode because we didn't recognize that we were drifting apart. So yeah, recognizing that a breakup, even if it's a friendship breakup, takes two parts.
Well, I like that answer. You was cooking on that one. I like that answer. Woo! I like that. All right, then. Look, you have so much great insight, so I want to encourage everybody to follow you on your path, so they can get that insight from you from all the places that you're currently on. So, this is the time where you can promote that. So tell everybody where they can find you at, so they can follow you and get more of these jewels that you're. Oh, I don't want to say jewels to drop it. That sounds horrible. But you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yes. You can follow me. I am at AFE on all social platforms, AYE_EFFIE. I mainly post on TikTok, and now I'm posting more on Instagram and Threads. I am trying to get up and running on YouTube, so I will be there this summer. Knock on everything. But yeah, I would say those are the main platforms that I'm on right now, and that would be the best way to just kind of stay with me and stay tuned on what I am going to do next.
Absolutely, and if you go to the show notes, you can get all the information, and you can follow her. So when she debuts on YouTube, you can be right there. You won't have to miss anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Efa, thank you so much for being a part of About Damn Time.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. Can't wait to chat again.
Thank you for joining me this week on It's About Damn Time. Hey, if you like what you heard, follow this podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and IG, and join the conversation on this week's episode. Link to all my socials in the show notes. You can also show love by simply giving me a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And of course, for more blogs, pods, and other digital content, go to thewholedamnshow.com. Until next time, I'll see you next week.